like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners regular meeting for September 28, 2022. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Lees. Commissioner Zimmerman.
Here.
So we have a couple of special guests this evening who we're going to be honoring in just a moment, but one in particular who I've known for a long time, and I like to thank her for all the work she does in Hatfield by embarrassing her. I'm going to ask that Terry Peck lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. For those of you who don't know her, before you stand, a couple of highlights. She's not only a long-term St. Maria Goretti member, as am I, so I will tell you that up front. She is a St. Vincent de Paul leader for many years. She's helped run the organization for many years, and also our local judge of elections here in Hatfield, Ward 4. Sorry, but it might be the best ward and most efficiently run of all of the locations, but I'm sure we can get into that debate later. With that, I will ask Terry if you would lead us in the pledge. No, you're good. So what I just did was embarrass Terry and at the same time pick a fight with my fellow commissioners about my ward being the best, and so it should be an eventful evening tonight. So. I like that. I like that. See, this is how Ward 4 people think. This is the best and the brightest. So, all right, so we have a couple of housekeeping items. We do not have a long agenda, but we do have a special event that we'll talk about in a moment. So is there approval for tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus.
Second.
Second by Vice President Rogers. All in favor of approval of tonight's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we can move forward. Housekeeping item, is there a motion to move the consent items into the record?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. Those consent items include the Board of Commissioners regular meeting minutes for August 24, the Board of Commissioners workshop meeting minutes of September 28, the Treasurer's report for the month of September, and the bills payable. Paid bills in the amount of $4,905.83, and unpaid bills in the amount of $1,078,282.03. All in favor of moving those items into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. All right, citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments on agenda items only? All right, well, we're going to move right to our Hatfield Heroes recognition, the St. Vincent de Paul Society, the annual Friends of the Poor Walk, which was just held this last weekend. I'm going to go over to the podium, and we have some special guests that I will introduce in just a moment. So I have to admit that I am partial to this organization, not just because I know a number of the members for a long time, but also because it comes from my local parish, St. Maria Goretti. And so for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Hatfield Heroes Award recognition that we do, it's something we started, I think sometime, certainly within the last year, maybe within the last 9 months. And what we've decided to do was to highlight, honor, recognize those people or those organizations who do extraordinary things in our community. And we've had a number of recipients, and tonight we're very excited to have a group from the St. Vincent de Paul Society. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with what the society is, I'll give you a very brief description. It is a worldwide Catholic lay organization that does service deeds for the community, not just members of that parish, of that particular parish, in this scenario, St. Maria Goretti, but throughout the entire area, and for us in particular, for the needs of those in Hatfield. So let me tell you a little bit about what the St. Vincent de Paul group has done here in Hatfield. On a monthly basis, they have what's called a pantry drive, and I was just talking to the members that are here outside. The pantry drive is the collection of food that is then is received and then distributed to various pantries throughout the area, on Main Street, and there were a few others. I know there's a pantry here right in Hatfield, and so on a monthly basis, they're collecting food for people who are in need. Goes beyond that. at least a biannual basis, they have truck days. And the truck days are a collection of household goods and clothing for people that are in need, not only in the Hatfield area, but also in the North Penn area. This last year, I want to give you some examples of some of the things that they've done. Well, when somebody calls or somebody reaches out to the society, it is irrelevant as to whether they are a member of the parish or not. And the singular goal is to aid those in need. And so what you will find is that there are volunteers like the people who are with us tonight, and I think there's kind of a small army of about 20 who are regular members who go out regularly, and they field the phone call that comes into the parish or into their phone or into their line, and they go out and they will sit with a family member or an individual, and they'll figure out what their concerns are, and they'll work with them to help them figure it out. Now, more often than not, it's financial. So there's no great surprise there. And just this last year, they provided in excess of $61,000 in assistance for neighbors in need. That includes, just by way of example, a car seat for a new baby, if somebody needed that, a new roof for a widow's home. These are the things that somebody calls, and when they are most in need, when they are at a time when they need somebody to come and lift them up in a lot of different ways, they reach out to the St. Vincent de Paul Society, and mortgage is paid, rent is paid, water, other utility bills are paid, $33,000 in mortgage and rent, $26,000 for other utilities. And I think of course, that's wonderful and fantastic. And I think what's most telling is this small group of about 15 or 20 people just this last year have donated at least close to 2,000 hours of service of their time to people in the area. They do that through the donations of local residents and parish members, and they do it through by way of, for example, this last weekend was the Friends of the Poor Walk. And this is an annual walk that after 2 years, because of COVID, was able to be held again. And we had it here, right here in Hatfield's School Road Park. And it was very well attended, and I suspect was very successful in raising funds. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that that opportunity to donate for that event is still open. And for people who go to their website, it is FOP Walk. So that's FOPWALK.org. And people can reach out and they can contribute at that location to St. Vincent de Paul Society. It is really an honor of mine to introduce a number of these people who do this out of the goodness of their heart, and I'm going to ask that they all come up. And then, I've said this before and I'll say it again, we tend to embarrass people with publicity as a way of saying thank you. So if you would all come up, and as I do that, I'd like to introduce you to Terry Peck, Dan Johnson, Lynn Jessenice, Mary Chantry, Donna Beauchamp, Rosemary Gerhardt, and Terry Kowatnik. So this is just some of the members of this wonderful organization that are our Hatfield heroes this month. And each one of you, we're going to provide a certificate of appreciation that reads as follows. It's a certificate of appreciation proudly presented to St. Vincent de Paul Society. We give this certificate in recognition for exemplary community service for its annual Friends of the Poor Walk event organized on September 24, 2022, and it's signed on behalf of the Board of Commissioners for Hatfield Township. And I really can't thank you enough for everything that you do. Again, for so many years, for so many different people. 250 families just this year have been the recipients of not your kindness and love, but also, your treasure. And we want to thank each and every one of you. So you all deserve a great round of applause. So I'm not sure if anybody wants to say anything, but
I am going to take the opportunity to say something, and that is that we could not do what we do without the support of the people in our community, and especially the rest of the Hatfield Ministerium, HCCC, the Pastors Fund, we don't have $61,000 to give, but we are in a position to help coordinate with different groups to put together the help that's needed. And lots of times, it isn't even a question of money. Sometimes it's just hand-holding at an eviction hearing, or letting people know what the community resources are. So we thank you for this, because every bit of publicity, recognition that we get means that our neighbors in need know that there's help out there for them. And so we thank you for the recognition. We thank you for anything that you would like to contribute. And I thank Tom for his constant need to embarrass me on all occasions.
I'm going to challenge the local reporter, and the reporter is Dan Sokol, who I'm thinking of right now, that he watched this video. He's going to love me for this. That he watched this video, and that he write an article about it. And that he writes an article not only praising the organization and recognizing all of you for your good deeds, but also giving other people an opportunity who read the newspaper to donate to the society, because the benefits of those donations are just so fantastic. So I'm challenging Dan. He's not here. He's going to hate, like I said, he's going to hate me for this, but with any luck, there'll be a little bit more recognition coming your way again. So thank you very much. Tammy, I have it, you're right, I have it written down correctly, I said it wrong, but when I contact Dan Sokol and I give him the list, he will have it, he'll have the proper list, so. Not nearly as exciting, we have a couple of action items for this evening, and then that's the extent of our meeting. Action item number 1, which is Resolution 22-12, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus.
Second.
Second by Vice President Rogers. Aaron, do you want to walk us through this one?
I can give a quick summary, Mr. President. Commissioner Andrus did a nice job last meeting talking about our pension obligations. One thing to keep in note, these are based on valuations from a few years ago, a little rosier than they are right now from a market perspective. So hopefully there's a rebound before the next valuation, or else these pension obligations are going to significantly increase over the next few years. We'll see how that goes. But for 2023, we're in a very good position.
All right. Any questions? Questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All in favor of Resolution 22-12, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Second action item. Ready, Chief? I think you're jumping in on this one. There a motion for approval for Resolution 22-13 with regard to the Law Enforcement Assistance Grant Reimbursement.
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. Chief, walk us through this, or no?
Tell me about it, and I'll be more than happy.
Yeah, no, I think he's giving
He
it back to
wasn't
you.
calling the bluff
No,
there.
he's
Yeah.
not. He's not bluffing. He's not bluffing.
Chief's well aware of what this item is. This is our annual reimbursement for several of our police joint efforts of DUI enforcements, as well as aggressive driver enforcements, and some other initiatives that we do along with our neighboring municipalities. We get some money back for participating in these. And I don't know if Chief wants to elaborate tonight, but the police were just recently awarded, not on our agenda, but a grant for some new body cameras that we'll be purchasing in 2023. We'll be talking more about those at our budget meeting in October. But Hatfield Police was among the first departments in Pennsylvania to wear body cameras. We're already at the point where we need to upgrade them and make them better and purchase higher tech and higher quality product. So thankfully, thanks to Chief and his efforts, we've gotten some money coming back to us and some more applications that hopefully will get some more funding to help offset the cost. But they've already proved the worth of having body cameras and having evidence of situations and having a department that has nothing to hide, and we that approach.
I remember everything he just said, now that he told me.
Would
Think
you,
of it for a minute,
would you like to
no.
restate it, or just
No,
want
I
to
think
rely on what he
He did an
said?
eloquent job. I'm good.
Minutes reflect that he said those things.
All right, unless, Chief, you have any other contributions to, no? Okay, then I will call the question. All in favor of Resolution 22-13, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments?
Ed Tarter, Downing Drive, Hatfield. It's that time of the year to discuss the retention basin and getting it cut in Downing Drive. Last year I started this in September. It didn't get done until after Christmas due to weather and other things. I'm trying to see if we can get ahead of it this year. The ground has been pretty dry. There's no reason the machines can't get in there. So I'd like to see if the township can make a commitment as to how and when they might be able to get out there and cut the basin and the cattails that are in the creek.
No problem, Sergeant. It's on our list, and we will get out there.
It was on the list last year, but it didn't get done.
True.
Make any commitment as to when we might be able
I'm not going to commit to a time frame. I'll leave that up to our Public Works Department, but they'll do it when they feel it's safe and the right time. I think we need to wait a little bit longer for certain environmental reasons. But once the frost comes and the weather dips a little more, we'll be out there.
That's what happened last time. The frost came, then the snow came. We couldn't get on it because of the snow.
Work on that snow for us. As long as the weather cooperates, we'll get out there this year.
All right, and along that same issue, the rim of the large basin was cut today, thank you. And it's been maintained in a very good fashion for the public. They like to use it like the Frick Trail, which adjoins it. There's an area that I've mentioned to a couple township personnel that the tree branches and brush are growing on either side of the slope, and they're closing it off. You know, normally it's about 10 foot wide, now it's about 5 foot wide. If they don't get out there and cut soon, people aren't going to be able to walk, and your machines are not going to be able to cut the grass there.
Okay.
So if nothing else, the walking trail needs to have it widened, about 50 feet long on both sides. It's closed in
Okay.
to where it's narrowed, where it's still passable, but if it isn't attended to soon, it's going to be an obstacle, and it's right in people's faces.
Okay. We will get on that.
That one,
promise
I
you
think, should be addressed without waiting for the weather or
Yep.
other issues.
I agree.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Sergeant.
Thank you, Ed. All right, any other citizens' comments? All right, well, we have a brief agenda tonight. If there's no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Andrus.
Second.
Second by Vice President Rogers. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thanks for coming out, folks.